Croeso and welcome. This is B. Halligan. I'm a priestess of Avalon and a priestess of Caridwen, and I am what we are calling a death priestess. That means that I have trained and worked as someone who is an end-of-life companion in a sacred way for almost many years, 30 years. I started very young. I started in a country where the proper ways of taking the dying home, what we call through the veil, and where we make them as comfortable and we make them as resigned, peaceful as possible. It is to welcome death on your own terms that makes it a good death. From the stories of the Celtic people, our ancestors, we learn that we don't just live this one life. In fact, we live many lives. When you look at Welsh poetry, when you look at Celtic mythology, when you look at all the stories that are being told about cauldrons of death and rebirth, you realize that there are lives that we live, that soul moves from existence to existence, to learn, to experience, to become more aware, to bring back knowledge and information to the great sea of souls, to the web of souls in the cosmos, whatever you like to believe. And that we are moving from form to form so that we can have a bigger experience of life. Taliesin, the great bard, tells us that he has been all sorts of things. He has been a tear in a woman's eyes. He has been a glint on the sword. He has been a leaf on the trees. He has been human and animal and plant. He has been part of the wind, part of the sand. He has been a hawk. He has been all sorts. And in each life he learned something more about what life is really about, and something that would help him in the next life. In truth and honesty, we need to be aligned with our soul in every life that we live. We have a soul purpose, a soul contract that we make before we incarnate in whatever form we take. We have a soul cluster, a soul constellation with whom we incarnate. We have a job to do here on this planet, in this life. And our job could be anything. You know, some people have the job to be exceedingly rich and very healthy and very well and very comfortable. And then some of us have the job to be alone, to be unwell, to be in financial dire straits. Our soul chooses where it walks. And it is the really brave souls that choose the really tough lives. And once those lives are over, the soul will go back and report on what it was that they had done, what they had learned. And they will teach how we can do better. There is no need for poverty, really. And yet, here in the UK, child poverty is rising. And I wonder why that is. I personally know it is because the young people, the children, don't have the right advocates, are not heard. For me, the best thing that would ever happen to this country is the children's revolt. And I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for the young people to wake up and see what mess we make as grown-ups. There should never be anything but respect for our elders. And yet so many old people live in poverty, alone, in dirt, in despair. People who've served this country, people who have served their families, their community well. COVID has shown us that there is a real problem that we had not been seeing. The way that older people are being treated in care homes, and I have had personal experience of that, is diabolical. For a huge amount of money, the care that they are given in most of these homes is not enough. It's not good enough. People who work there report to me, because some of them are students on my course, how despondent they are about the way that the elderly are being treated, how little care they can give them in the few moments that are allocated to them. I've heard that for the longest time from people, and it makes me very sad, and it also makes me very afraid to go and become older. I have a family that will probably look after me if I'm really nice to them in the next few years, but there are a lot of people who haven't. And this is where the death priestesses come in. This is where the priestesses of any ilk come in. We have a sacred duty, a sacred way of dealing with that problem. We are not just sacred workers, we're not just sacred listeners, we're not just people who are there creating beautiful little ceremonies for people. We are also healing priestesses with, in my case, a raft of qualifications, and so I know have my sisters. Qualifications gained in the mundane world. And we are not afraid to get our hands dirty. We're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and actually speak our mind and our truth. It is part of what we do, especially as death priestesses. And my vision for that particular brand of priestessing is that we are advocates for these people who can no longer speak for themselves. I know young people that can't write, can't fill in forms. That's part of what we do if needed. I know people that have fought and fallen out with family members and don't know how to reach out to them and don't know how to make peace before they go. And that pain draws on the strength of the soul. So we will become bridges. There are all sorts of things that we can do. We can talk to healthcare teams. We can talk to people in social care that when our clients, patients need help, it is not just about holding their hands, stroking them gently, laving their hands and feet in sacred ceremony, anointing them before death, bringing comfort and care to them on a spiritual level. Death priestessing is a lot more than that. It will call to your inner warrior. I'm not talking about aggression. I'm not talking about fighting and conflict. I'm talking about assertion. It will bring you to that place where your righteous warrior says, that is not right. We need to do better than that for all concerned. For the families, for the dying, for all the people that are involved in the process, for the health caregivers that are under enormous pressure now and are themselves at the edge of falling apart. I can't tell you how often I have sat with someone who's dying in the middle of the night, and one of the sisters comes in and just releases, and talks about what's going on for her or him. And I don't mind listening. It's what I do. Sacred listening is what I do. Giving comfort and giving care is what I do. It is my mission in this life. It is my vision for the next life that we will have a better way of doing things. It's why I train people. It's why I want people to go out in the world once they finish their training and really apply what they have learned. It's not about gaining a title. It's about stepping up and standing up for what is right. And at the moment and in the near future, this land and these people that govern our land are lost and broken and unsure and don't know what to trust anymore. I wouldn't want to be a politician in this time for any money in the world. But one thing I do know is that there are people who can help bring in a solution. And those people need to step up. But we can't make them. That's not our way. All we can do is the best for the people that are coming to us for help. Like I said, for comfort, for a gesture of love and caring. Sometimes people ask me, how can you talk about comfort and caring about people that you don't know? I see the soul. I always get a little bit confused when people talk about this, that, and the other that divides us as people. Because I see the soul, I see the shining brow, I see your soul shining out of you, and I don't actually see necessarily the body she is in. I just see the soul. And the soul is always beautiful and always shining. And sometimes a little aggravated that we won't listen to it more. But that's not what we're talking about here right now. The love of all existences. Even if somebody is unpleasant in their demeanor, unpleasant in the way that they speak, unpleasant in the way that they are holding themselves, we don't judge. We never ever judge anyone's person. We see the soul in them, and we see the love that Goddess or divinity or anyone else that you wish to talk to has. Death priestesses don't, and priests, we do want the men to. We don't subscribe you to Goddess or God or any other denomination. We ask you to find a divine source of comfort from which you can draw your strength. We ask you to find a wellspring of sacredness inside of you. And we are all made from the cosmos. We are all made from the universe. We are all star seeds. And physics tells us that. And we can all find that better part of us that can be in service to others. For years I have been thinking that we have been building a cult of the individual. And I'll be really honest with you. This cult of the individual has turned into a mania. Me, me, me. It's all about me. I'm feeling this, I'm doing that, I need to heal myself, blah, blah, blah. Sorry if that sounds a bit rude. But the best way to heal yourself is to find what's missing and to find that void and heal it without making a big fuss about it, and then stepping up and stepping out to help heal others. Being of comfort to somebody else, even when you are tired, even when you are despondent yourself, it gives you something. There is an energy exchange. When you see somebody smiling when you've tucked in their blanket, or one of the most important things, have made their bed and taken the wrinkles out of their bed sheet, which by the way bring bed sores quite drastically and very painfully. If you have straightened their pillow, stroked their head, looked into their eyes and said, I'm here, I'm not going away, you're not alone, I'm here for you. Even if they can't hear you, even if they're unconscious, they can feel your presence. And there is something truly satisfying about being present when somebody is taking their last few breaths in this world. And to us then being reborn into our noon, into the other world. But that's my belief, and you don't have to subscribe to that. I just want to be honest with you about what I believe. I want to invite all of you to think. You don't have to come on a training, but to think, is there something that you could do? A visit to an elderly person, a knock on the door, a moment of your time. You know, amongst all the things that people are worried about now, the fact that time is a real gift, that a moment of your time is more precious to people than £100. I swear to you, that is the case. Walk in your path with integrity and authenticity, and being a presence in the world that speaks up for others. That is the way that we can help. And to many of you, it doesn't take that much effort. I always have time. And if I don't have time, I make time for those who need a kind word. From me, but not really from me. I'm a death priestess. I'm a priestess of the goddess. And I open myself to goddess, and I allow her words to flow through me. Words that are far, far more loving and kind than I as a person could ever be. Goddess is truly the best in me. And when she speaks to people, people know that there is something so much more than what we see in this life. Find yourself. Find a way to help. Find a way to be an energy in the world to be reckoned with. Fulfill your soul purpose. Be part of the tribe. Help those who cannot help themselves. And that will actually distract you slightly from your own problems. It might even bring an answer and a solution to some of the problems you may be facing. And it most certainly will make you feel grateful for all that you have. You will count your blessings when you see how little some people have. You will appreciate the comfort and company of your own family, of your own loved ones, of your own beloved, when you see someone who has no one. It will change your point of view. It will change your perspective. And it will make you a calmer, more grateful, more open person, heart open, wholehearted, a wellspring of wisdom and love in the world. And there truly is nothing better. So I invite you to do your bit, what you can give, in order to help bring the light back into a rather dark world at this moment of time. Blessed be.